Hello. The topic of today's video is salvation for atheists. Isn't that an awesome thing if there was such a thing? Eternal life for atheists? It might be possible. Okay? So, Christians have commonly told atheists, you can't be saved. There's no possible chance that God is going to save an atheist because you're going to be damned because you didn't believe. Okay? That's what Christians are telling atheists. But these Christians have no way of knowing God's standard of salvation, but they just pretend like they do. And then the atheists turn around and say, oh, well, I guess I can't be saved because I don't believe in God, so they don't even try. It's like they're just accepting the Christian idea of God. It's absurd. Any smart atheist should admit that maybe there is a God. And they should just... And God could be any different way, right? God could be anything. God could be the flying spaghetti monster. God could be the pink unicorn, right? We have no idea about anything about God. So you can just make a guess, right? Just guess as to what a theoretical God might judge you by. What sort of criteria would a God judge humans by? And you don't need to believe any religion. You don't even need to believe in God in order to do this. Anyone can do that. They can just think in their heads, if I was God, how would I judge humankind? Right? And just live accordingly. That's what it's about. It's about acting according to the worst case scenario that maybe there is going to be a judgment on your life. And far too many atheists, they don't live with the judgment mentality. They live with the do what thou wilt mentality. Just there's going to be no judgment. There's going to be no punishment or reward for my behaviors, whether they be good or bad. So I'm just going to do anything I want. That's the common attitude, you see. And so that's not smart. If you wanted to live forever, you should try to gain the approval of a God that might exist, whether or not you believe in God or not. Your beliefs are irrelevant because people are wrong about what they believe all the time. Belief has no bearing on what's true or not. Right? If I believe in God, if I don't believe in God, I could be wrong either way. So don't focus on what you believe. So many atheists and theists just focus on their beliefs. They act like their belief is the most important thing. Who cares what you believe? What matters is what's possible. And it's possible that there is a God. And it's possible that there isn't a God. This is why I'm agnostic. I just say, I don't know. Okay? And people keep on telling me that I'm promoting Pascal's Wager. I'm not promoting Pascal's Wager. Pascal's Wager is based upon the false idea that someone can just choose their beliefs, that they can just change their beliefs at will. Like an atheist can just decide to believe in God. That's ridiculous. Obviously, people cannot choose their beliefs. Belief is an involuntary process. I'm only promoting a wager based upon a change of actions. If living with the fear of a theoretical God can make you behave more morally, if it can make you a better person, if it can make you more virtuous, then by all means, you should try to cultivate the fear of a theoretical God. Because it's possible. We should all fear a theoretical God just because it's possible. That's right. Even if it's just a small chance, even just a 1% chance that a God might exist and that we're all going to be judged, that's enough reason to fear and to try to be perfect. Because, like I said, no one can know the standard of judgment of a theoretical God. So you just prepare for the worst. If you don't know the standard, you know how high you got to be to measure up to God's standard, then just be perfect. If you're perfect, then you've done all you could possibly do, and let the chips fall where they may. At least you've tried your hardest. At least you tried to be absolutely perfect. If there's a theoretical God that doesn't save you, then that God would pretty much have to be evil. I mean, if you're being like the perfect person, if the God doesn't save the perfect person, or practically perfect person, what type of God is that? If God is like the Christians tell us, that would damn us for not believing in God, that's a ridiculous, evil type of God anyways. Let's not even concern ourselves with that type of Christian God that's ridiculous and evil, that would damn people for what they believed. And who cares about what people believe? Belief is not a virtue. But if you're an atheist, you have every reason to live an extremely virtuous life and hope that maybe there is some sort of God. What's all of this really about when it comes down to it? Why do people even discuss religion? Why does any of it matter? It's because religion deals with eternal life. The idea that there's a God, it deals with eternal life, the subject of living forever. As humans, I can only speak for myself, but I freaking want to live forever, and I'm going to do anything I can to stack the odds in my favor. And living with the fear of a theoretical God is certainly going to help me. I mean, I'm not saying you need to fear a theoretical God in order to be a great person. Okay, some people just say, look, I'm good for goodness sake. I'm just a humanist, and I love to be a good person, and I love to give to charities, and I'm altruistic, and I love being a good person. Okay, that's great. I totally have respect for those people. All right? But it can even help to be even more perfect for some people to have the fear of a God that might exist. That helps people be a better person. Some people, all right? And it's also honest, because it's possible that there is a God. So even if you're a humanist who just says, I'm a good person just for the sake of being a good person, that's great. But if you're honest with yourself, then you should be agnostic and admit to yourself that maybe there is a God and maybe there is a judgment. And that should inspire you to strive for even greater perfection, moral perfection, as being as virtuous as possible. And you could possibly earn yourself eternal life. All right? And no one should count on there being God. This is what the agnostic code is all about. No one should just assume that there's a God and accept death on that assumption. We should all be trying desperately to live forever physically, with life extension technology and other possible options that might help us live forever physically. Because let's face it, no one knows what happens after we die. There might be no afterlife. That's common sense. And this is where you see religious people fail completely, because most religious people totally let their bodies die. They don't care about dying, right? Because they think there's going to be some afterlife. Retarded. There's nothing more important in this life than living forever. So you got to try to do everything you possibly can to increase your odds that you're going to live forever. You know, a lot of atheists, they're probably not, they might do things, in secret. And they might think they can get away with things. right? And the fear of a theoretical God helps to inform yourself that no, actually everything you're doing might be watched and judged by a theoretical God, right? God is just theoretical, but it's possible that there's a God. And just better safe than sorry. That's my message, is better safe than sorry. Don't assume that you can get away with anything. You have to live your life as though it's a test. That this life is a test. You know, maybe we're in a simulated reality. Who knows? You know? Maybe aliens are God. We've been seated here, like in the movie Prometheus. But it still does not discount the possibility that there's going to be a judgment on our lives. Maybe the aliens are going to judge us. Maybe the creators of this artificial matrix are going to judge our lives. So you have to live with that judgment mentality. Better safe than sorry. All right. You know, hope, the hope of eternal life can keep you going. And everyone should have that hope. Regardless if you're a theist, an atheist, an agnostic. Everyone can have the hope of eternal life. And you're not disqualified. Don't believe the lie that Christianity has told you, that you're disqualified because you don't believe in something. Everyone might be judged according strictly to their deeds, their fruits, what they have done in their life, what the good things they've done, and the bad things they've done. It might be the judgment, assuming there's a judgment, right? Look, I'm agnostic. I don't know anything about if there's a God or not, but I'm going to prepare for the worst. I'm going to just live my life as though there's a God. I'm going to live my life as though there's a judgment. It's just safer. All right. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.